Right now, the City of London is looking over at the Eurozone and bracing itself for the fall. The uncertainty over Greece's future remains, the Spanish bailout looks to have failed, and we still don't know how many other dominoes will collapse in what seems to be an inevitable Eurozone fallout. But is it a basic failure of democracy that's at the heart of the financial crisis? Across Europe, one nation after another is seeing its voters rejecting austerity. But these countries, the UK included, have been borrowing billions year after year simply to fund normal recurring expenditure. Countries have to move towards balancing their books if they want to escape the black hole currently engulfing Greece. And that means tightening the public purse, whether the voters like it or not. The reason we all lived beyond our means for many years, quite simply, is because we could. Governments across Europe, rather than saving for a rainy day, bought their public's votes with unaffordable, in some cases reckless, spending plans, hoping that the Growth Party would go on forever, or at least that they'd no longer be in the chair when the music stopped. And let's not just blame the last Labour government here in the UK. After all, much of their spending plans were supported by the Conservatives. Well, the music has now well and truly stopped, and only Germany seems to have the financial backbone to be relatively safe in the storm. Their strong manufacturing base is often cited as a reason for this, but could it also be the nature of the German people? Sensible, prudent, maybe a bit boring. Could it be that Germany is the one democratic nation whose people would vote out a party that made reckless spending promises rather than voting them in? Perhaps it's the famous German efficiency that's helped them escape the turmoil. If so, no wonder their public are so unhappy at having to pay Greece's debts. But despite Europe being on the edge of a financial precipice, we've seen in France that a political party can still win elections on an anti-austerity ticket. Despite everything that's happened, the European public still seem to believe that we should spend more on public services than we can afford, even though the long-term consequences of this seem pretty terrifying. But if the public is simply wrong, where does that leave democracy? Churchill once famously said that the best argument against democracy is a 5-minute conversation with the average voter, and many share his view that it's merely the least worst political system. So is it really just a failure of the democratic system which has led us into this unholy mess? And if so, should we really be trying to impose democracy on the rest of the world?